Welcome back to your next holiday video. Now the next two cards are the exact same design. We've just switched the colors up, so I'm only going to demonstrate one of the colors. But both of these are done on a piece of very vanilla cardstock, which is cut at 4 1/4 by 5 1/4. And I made my little note right there. And I'll show you, we're using the layering circles framelits to cut this. We ran, if you can see, what you'll look at in your package, that the paper has been run through the Subtles embossing folder. And then this paper, I'm going to show you this paper. It's two-sided. It's all red on one side, and then the other side is green. And then we're using the Forever Greenery trim. It's a combo pack that's in the annual catalog, if I'm not mistaken. And then we're using the, what is this punch? This is the Timeless Labels punch. We're going to be doing the green one today. And then this is how I decorated the inside of the card. I placed a piece of coordinating garden green with a piece of the paper from the inside, which you will have all of this. And then the same thing on the red. We did the same thing. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and get started, and I'll show you how to do this card. Now again, you should have all of your supplies. So and then the one thing I will mention, this is in our annual catalog. This stamp set carried over from last year. It's called Perfectly Plaid. This is a great stamp set that you can use, and that's where I've been using the Merry Christmas, in case you're wondering. And then what you can do, there used to, I don't know if the punch carried over. I don't believe it did, but you could stamp these, and you can stamp them on plaid, or if you have the punch, then you can cut the tree out of the plaid Tidings paper. So this is a nice stamp. It's not that expensive, and it's in the annual catalog. So this is just to let you know, this is where I'm using the Merry Christmas from. Okay? All right, so let's go ahead and get started. Now, I didn't bring the inside pieces. I just want to show you the outside. So we're using the very vanilla cardstock, and this is cut at 4 1/4 by 11. So since this is 4 1/4 by 11, we want to score it in half. So just remember that your longest piece is 11 inches. So you just look at what half of 11 is 5 1/2. So we'll score this at 5 1/2. Okay. So if we're doing an 8 1/2 piece, then half of 8 1/2 is the 4 1/4. So that's how we arrive at those measurements. So we're going to go ahead and fold this over. Now this we want to make sure it's lined up evenly, and you can see that you want to hold it again, hold it, and then just push this down. Use your paper bone folder and get your good creases. Okay. All right, so now let me bring in my supplies that we used. Let me pull those in. Now this pack of paper comes with checked paper. Of course, one side's red, one side's green. It also has paper that has stripes in it that's red and green. So you may have gotten a striped piece like this, or you may have gotten the checked. It just depends on what I have, the supplies that I have available for the card. So here is the paper that we're using, and then there's the same designs in green. So what I did, as you can see, you try to pick whatever areas you want in your circle, okay? Then you want to cut that out, and that's what I've done. As soon as, oh, here we go. So what I did is I lined up, because I wanted the deer, because I could get 3 animals. Well, actually, I got 4 because I got the rabbit, okay? So you've got the deer, the fox, the bear, and the rabbit. And, of course, you got the little fox's head, the bear's head right there. So and then if you want, so when you do your cards, you'll have a long piece like this that you'll be able to use, and then you'll cut out for whichever card you're doing. Just flip it over, okay? All right, and then the layering circles that I used to cut these, let me show you that. They're layering circles. They come with scallops and circles, and I used the largest scallop, and then I used the circle right here for the actual designer series paper. Now let me show you a trick. Since this is going to be covered, I cut this out, but since this is going to be covered up by my circle, then you can use the inside of that paper for something else. So when I was doing the next card, you'll see is the one that has the word joy. So I've used and cut the circle out, the O, out of here, so that saved me from using another piece of cardstock. So that's just another tip, just to let you know that you can use your supplies in a smart fashion and not do a lot of waste. All right, so we have our card base, and I've already ran this garden green piece of cardstock through the Subtles embossing folder, and I really like this because if you look, it's what it is. It's very subtle lines that are going through. It just gives it a little bit of a dimension, but not enough to take away from your card. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and adhere our adhesive. So again, I'm using the Tombow glue. And we go ahead and add that on here. I think I'm getting low on my glue because I have to keep shaking it around. And in case you're curious, if you've not followed me before, and if you want to know where I purchased this, I got this stand from Etsy for $5.50. And I forget the gentleman's name, but if you want to know, let me know. And there's several of them on there, but he is is rated very highly. I like it, and it doesn't fall over. There's other ones that are similar, but they cost a little bit more money. His is made by a 3D printer, and that makes it nice, so he can zip them out in pretty much whatever color he's got available. All right, so we're going to go ahead and attach our first piece of garden green onto your base of cardstock. All right. And then we are going to, and I did it again. I forgot to put my ribbon. I don't know what is going on with me. I'm too busy talking. So let me take this off. We're going to go back and I'm going to show you the right way. Pretend we haven't done that. I'm going to flip this over. Okay, let's try this again. So the first thing we're going to do, before we attach our ribbon, let's get our piece of paper. I'm going to apply this on here because it's not going to stick to my craft. This is why you want to have one of these silicone craft sheets. All right, we're going to pull our paper cutter back in. We're going to cut a strip of this. Now, we only need it to be, I didn't do the 3 3/4. I left a little shy, and I did that on purpose. So we're going to, I think it's cut at a 1/2 inch. So I'm going to move this over. Now, on the paper trimmer, if you're not familiar with these, and you can see I've got to clean this up. I got glue all over it. You can go over here to 1.5, this is 1 1/4, 1.5 inches. So I only want to cut this a 1/2. So I'm going to line it up right there. I'm going to cut this down a 1/2 inch. And you always want to make sure you've got the top lined up with your line at the bottom so it's not crooked, all right? So this is my cutting, so I'm just going to move that up. My scoring blade. So I'm going to pull my paper cutter up and cut that. And then we're going to turn this, and I'm going to cut this at, actually the other one, let me move this. I did it at a 1/2 inch. I apologize. I'm sorry, it was 3/4 of an inch. It's a little bit bigger, so let's do that. We'll get it cut the right size. You have the right size. I just cut my sample incorrectly, but that's okay. We'll do 3/4 of an inch because that little piece right there is a little bit too small. All right, let's get that lined up. Let's hold that down and then cut. Okay, perfect. And now we will, let's see. Let me see. Hang on a second. Let's look at this. And this is going to be, yep, 3/4. 3/4 of an inch. And then we're going to cut this. I'm going to cut it down to about 3/8 of an inch, because there's 3/4. I'm going to bring it down just a little bit, and then I'm going to trim it. I'm going to trim it down once I get it close to the card on how I want it. Okay, so let's set those pieces off to the side. And whoopsie, let's pull in our whoop. Hang on, I've got everything attaching to everybody. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and put this here. Yep, just like that. All right, well, let's go ahead and we're going to tack that down. So I want the red to show since we're using green, right? So let's go ahead and put some adhesive on the back of this. And yeah, my Tombow is definitely getting a little shy on glue, but that's all right. All right, so let's get that going, and we'll place that here. And wherever you want to place it, you know, I just came up from the bottom a little bit. And of course, you got to keep in mind now when you're looking at these things, it's going to make it look like it's not straight. It's not cut straight, but it's in an optical illusion. All right, so now we're going to bring in our ribbon, and we're going to wrap this around and tie. Ooh, I hope I have enough on here. Look at that. I'm down to the bottom of my, we should have enough. I'm at the bottom of my ribbon thing. Okie doke. So we're going to wrap this. So what we're going to do is you're going to lay this underneath your green piece before you add any adhesive or anything, all right? Now we're going to bring it around, and we're just going to tie a knot. So, and again, I'm going to put the knot, let's do it this way. Since I've got the adhesive, it might not move, but you can tie it and then slide it. But since I have glue on the back of mine, I'm going to move mine over. So we're just going to go ahead and tie a knot. So when you have your ribbon like this, you want to twist this up, because if you see how you pull it up and then put your thumb there. Now see how it's a little crooked? You want to flip this over. So watch. I'm going to flip it so that, all right, it's like this. You want to hold it like that. Put your finger there. If I can grab it. And then I hold it with this finger as well. And then I loop this through. And this is a really easy ribbon to work with. And then pull it through, and then just pull your tails, and there you go. And then we'll just use our ribbon scissors to trim it up, because this does fray a little bit, but I think it looks fine. So we'll just trim that a little bit there, put it at an angle. If you don't hold the scissors just right in your ribbon, see how it's shifting on me? All right, and then we'll cut this one that way. All right, so there we go. Let's move this out of the way. Put that in my little trash can. Okay. All right, so we have that. Let's move this out of the way. Now we're ready to attach him to our card base. Now, since I've let this sit a little bit longer than I should have, I need to add a little bit more adhesive to the back so we know it's going to stick. So we'll go ahead and add our adhesive, right? And you don't really need to put any on the ribbon because it's going to be held down by the cardstock anyways. Okay, so that part's done. So we're going to place this on here, leaving our about 1/8 of an inch border. Put that like that. Okie doke, and push that down, and just make sure all your edges are adhered. All right, and then the next thing we're going to do, we're going to lay the circle flat. So I'm going to attach this with some adhesive, and again, I'm going to do the red, but I'm going to turn it over and show the green. Now, since I have cut my circle out, my O for my joy, then I'm going to take and put adhesive on this piece. Normally, I'd put it on the back of this, but since I cut that hole out, I know it's going to go around, so I can put some adhesive right around here to hold this in place. Okay, so that's what we're going to do. So we're going to put that on there. And then we just want to get our animals so they're in the right direction. And then just lay it down and then get it positioned how you want it. And there we go. Okay. So we've got our green. Now we're just going to lay this on the card flat. So we're not going to add any dimensionals to this. So we'll go ahead and add our adhesive to the outside edges, and we'll put some in the center as well. Okay, because we want to make sure that this is going to hold down. And we're going to put that right about there. Isn't this cute? I just love this. Such an easy card. Now, see, if you don't have a sentiment, that would be perfect. You could easily send that and then just write your message on the inside. But we're going to go ahead and stamp a sentiment. So again, you can use whatever you have at home. And I have a scrap of Very Vanilla. Let me find it. At least I thought I did. Well, I know I did. It's over on the other table. All right, so we're going to go ahead and stamp our sentiment, which is our Merry Christmas, and we're going to use our garden green. And we'll stamp that up and make sure we've got ink on it. And we'll stamp it, oh, we'll go this way. We'll stamp it right about here. Now, if it's crooked, it's okay because we're going to punch it out. All right? So let's close the ink up. Always close your ink up. At least that's what I do. Otherwise, seems like you get your fingers in it. All right, we're using the Timeless Label Punch. So we're just going to lay this in here. You want to, and you'll have this already pre-cut. But if this is something you want to purchase and you're not used to using punches, then you just want to get it in here and get it centered. And I can lower this a little bit. And I think that looks good. And then you just punch it out. All right. And then this is our scrap piece. Okay, so we're going to take that, and again, we're going to add our dimensionals. That's why you always keep a good stock of dimensionals on hand, because you never have enough of them. So we're going to go ahead and put dimensionals. I'm going to put 4, because I want to have it going over, and I want it to make sure it holds in place and it doesn't flop around. Okay, so we're going to put 4 dimensionals on here. Get that out of the way, and then we will pull these off. This is such a fun thing to do, and I hope you're enjoying these cards. I love creating and sharing this with people who like to stamp, or if you're new to this, it's such a relaxing thing to do, believe me. All right, and then we're just going to lay it there. Now I can slide this over it's glued down, but I think that's fine. I'm going to put it right about there, so it's going to cover up that part of the red, but that's okay. It still shows through. And there you go. There's our Christmas card. So you'll do the same thing like we did here with the red, with the one that has the red. All right. And then, of course, you're going to add the 2 extra pieces that I gave you on the inside of the card. All right. Thank you so much, and I'll see you in the next video.